Right, so you are on this tour with a new album and an EP, allegedly. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, that's what it said on the website.
There's an LP and an EP, is that right?
LP, there isn't an EP, there's
a single.
Yeah. Single with various tracks. Yeah.
Well done. 2 points so far. Agreeing with your own website. So, is that the amount of albums you've done already? Does that really get harder or easier? Given changes in personnel.
I'd say with a 15-year gap, it was considerably easier.
So, how much has it changed in 15 years? The sound, the approach, will to live.
Hasn't changed that
patience.
Much, has it, really? Since those pioneering days, because it didn't really exist. All these changes, that technology makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, you used to have to go in the studio and spend thousands of pounds. But now everything's digital. It's a lot easier to do on your computer in your own home.
And then live, obviously, is when they used to go out, they used to use a reel-to-reel tape recorder, which occasionally, if somebody would lean on it, would slow down or speed up. So now it's all digital, and I think things, obviously, technology's moved on.
So now it's all on an iPod, which suddenly gets louder for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way.
Yeah. Right, that sounds a bit like you're back to where you were, really.
Yeah, kind of. But that's just the way we like it, really, isn't it?
It's like digital TV, isn't it? It's supposed to be a big improvement, but then when it rains and you get a thunderstorm,
you can't see
you've got no fucking TV. It's like,
I can live with that. I spend all my time on the net.
Well, maybe you can, but it's, you expect progress to be progress, don't you? But sometimes these things just kind of go backwards.
With all this technology then, do you think other people have caught up with you? Because sampling and looping and whatever was kind of probably a bit... Was it avant-garde back then? I can't remember that far back.
Well, hip-hop was certainly... Yeah, to avant-garde, no, because it was popular, but the people using it were using it in a fresh, cutting-edge way, using the technology to its limit. Finding things enabling to sample. Because obviously hip-hop started without samples. It was DJs playing parts of records over and over. So what a sampler enabled somebody to do is what a DJ was doing, is take a loop from a record, loop it, and make it easier to manipulate. So I guess the people that started using samplers to making pop music, because a lot of it was pop music then, with hip hop and electro. I guess it was cutting edge avant-garde at the time.
Well, you had a very different audience from those people, I just said.
The poppies, yeah.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, the pop itself was never really genre specific. I mean, the whole idea really of Pop Will Eat itself was to take from every angle that we could and create our own thing. Whereas hip hop is, stays within its own genre. It takes from certain reference points, soul and funk. But yeah, that's. It's certainly different in that way, but that's how it's spread. Excuse me.
So, who has for the audience that you kind of created back then? Who do you think really has taken what you did and gone with it from there? Who's doing it now, or in the 15 years in between for that same audience? Anybody?
Bands like Prodigy and
I suppose there's bands who were quite up front that we were an influence, the likes of 9 Inch Nails and Prodigy, but they've got their own.
They do their own thing.
They've got their own angles, so.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been another. There's not a rival to your Crown.
To Pop Will Eat itself, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
No, because they don't want it.
Well, would you?
Would I?
Yeah. If you were starting out now, would you want that crown?
Would you want to copy that? It's
No,
very difficult to
you
say
can't.
if you were starting now. It's difficult to say what you'd be into because
You can't sample really these days.
these days you can't do this
Unless you do the whole. I mean, you can
Re-record
do
things.
mash-up things, which you can't make money out of. You just do as fun or promotion. But you use a recognisable sample these days, and you pay through the nose for it, and you're not going to receive any royalties whatsoever. So that, as an art form, has been. Do you like his butt cheeks?
I've seen enough of the pantser one day, so now.
You know about my buttocks?
He's the butt cheek boy.
They're talking about Davey. He's a bit. What is he doing? He's leaning over at the moment, arse in the air.
Yeah.
So along the last 25 years, whatever it is, how much has your sound changed, and what's your favourite bit? What's your favourite in terms of albums?
How has the sound changed? The sound, I think, generally changed from album to album. We didn't want to repeat ourselves.
That's a conscious choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think we kind of look which route we're going to take for each album. For this album, it was we wanted to do a heavier thing. And obviously, you know, these guys are part of the new lineup, so it was finding the sound that was going to suit all of us, and it was that, you know, heavier sound. That's what we do.
They're giving you weight, are they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, they'll be pleased to hear that. What is that? In your fan base, I mean, I've been looking around on the fan sites. There seems to be quite a few of them going around. How much has that support really egged you on, or been an influence, or done anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's great really. With the new lineup, we had no idea which way it was going to go, you know, whether people were just going to shun it or, you know, give it a fair chance. And as it's happened, I think it's very much the latter, you know. We've probably got...
Won over the doubters.
Yeah, I'd say almost certainly 80 plus % support, really. It's, you know, it's...
Right, because obviously a lot of people are going to... For them, the poppies are what was. I think if there'd been not much time in between the old lineup and this lineup, then it would be more difficult to swallow. But because it's been such a long time, I think they're just quite happy to.
Well, that's just natural then, isn't it?
No, that's natural, and obviously we know that. But because there's such a long time has elapsed between, you know, the band actually going out, I think it's quite good, and people are quite happy to see, you know, just to see the band out again. And then when they see us, it's like, wow, it's kind of it's different, but it's the same, but it's different. A lot of people have said it's like the old version of the band on steroids, which I quite like that analogy, because it is a little bit harder, and hopefully it has moved on. You know, I think that's what Graham wanted to do when he was asking me when I wanted to be involved. He definitely was. I want it to be on the harder side, you know, less compromising, and you know, I think that's good, and I think, like he says, people seem to like it.
Good. You're getting really good reviews. I've been looking around today.
Yeah.
See what people think. So, we're good so far. How's it going? How do you feel like it's going, this tour?
No, it's going. We're having
You've only got one more gig, haven't you?
Yeah,
Home gig.
After this,
Home gig. Yeah.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. We saw us today. It's like a lot of people. It's funny on the websites initially when he announced the lineup. There was a few people saying, "Yeah, but you can't imagine them going for a drink together, could you?" And it's like. Do you remember reading that one? Yeah, there was something like, "Oh yeah, but they, you know, they're just mercenaries, and they, you know, you can't imagine them being a band." And what the great thing is when we got together for the first rehearsal is that we all think it's been a band who's having a sense of humour and being involved, you know, having fun with each other, because it's, you know, there's nothing worse than doing something with people you don't want to be with.
No, you can't go on tour and be stuck together for that long.
We instantly, after the first rehearsal, it was just like, I don't know, I think it was the first half an hour in the room, we'd all, like, you know, had a laugh, and it's worked out really well. You know, today we're on the tour, we just discovered that we have a mutual love of bowling, which we started yesterday. And now we're getting really competitive. But like, you know, we're all out with each other, and you know, it's great. It's you know, feels like a band. It doesn't feel like Graham and you know, some other blokes. You know. I have a lot of history with him because I came up from around the same time. So I think the other thing about me being involved is, and the other guys not being there, it kind of makes up for it in a small way, that some of the people that were the Poppies fans might be a crossover with that. So it's like, okay, and that's good. You know.
Do you think your name on this has really meant a lot to other people? Has it drawn a lot of other people in?
I think particularly drawn other people in, maybe a few.
Or made them feel more comfortable?
I think it's made them feel slightly more comfortable because it's, like I say, I grew up from that time. And so I think people do associate you with Poppies anyway. Yeah, I heard the name and thought, ooh. No, yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's those people back in the day. Yeah, we came around at the same time. We you know, our initial trajectory was very similar. These guys lasted a lot longer.
It's good fun though.
It's a lot of fun.
It was back then.
It was, yeah, exactly. It was all fun. I mean, that's what it should be. It's like, you know, being in a band isn't you know, you're escaping doing normal things. You know, you're not doing it because it's like want to make loads of money, because obviously we're not sitting here millionaires. You know what I mean?
Aren't you? Oh. Shame. What would you have done differently then, or what haven't you done yet that you want to?
This particular
somewhere, well, anywhere along the line.
It's very difficult when you're talking about what you could have done and what you wish you had done. I've been pretty lucky. I've been in lots of different bands. I've had a lot of good fun. I'm now in this one, and this is good fun. I can't really say personally.
You're just happy with the way things have gone so far?
I'm pretty happy, yeah. Cool. Some things could have gone differently if different things have happened, but in life you are where you put yourself, you know.
What an excellent attitude. I like that. Have a gold star.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. And what about you? What about you with Pop Police itself after all these years? Have you missed anything, do you think?
Missed anything?
Yeah. Along the way, you think, should have done that.
Like opportunities?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, you know, it was basically came out of Pop Police itself having made very little money, but had a great time doing it, you know, and we were in debt to the record company when we left, but you know, you've got to speculate to accumulate. If it doesn't happen, then you make sure that you have a bloody great time whilst you do it, and you know that you hopefully leave a bit of a legacy, which I think we did, which is why we can pick up from
this
that.
Many years later, if I'm still got Pop Police itself are coming, you know, that's pretty good. And I never made it to the Reformation tour.
I'm
really pleased to be here.
This is important that I add, is when the Bikers split up, and when Graham asked me to do this, a lot of people asked me to reform. A lot of people still ask, well, why don't you reform the Bike? I wouldn't do it, because this is new, but I really liked the legacy of their work. I really respected it, and I knew that there was a legacy of work. There was lots of songs, and I know that it really connected with people back then.
Yeah.
And I was saying to Graham the other night, when we were splitting up, Kev Biker, our drummer, I think we went to see the Poppies at the Astoria somewhere, and he turned around to me and said, I really like this band. I wish we could be like this band. And I go, and this was just the time. I said, well, we could be. Yeah. But at the time, everybody was pulling apart, and it didn't happen. I said we could have been if you'd have concentrated and everybody been into it, because these guys were still into it at that time and still pushing it and still going for it, and you know, and that's what happens. They carried on, and they had a good legacy of songs, and I think that's, you know, great.
So do you just in the last few years it's sort of become, well, it's become very 80s again for people of a certain age, because everybody's coming out again. How natural does that feel to you that we're now getting gigs by the Mission, Fields of the Nephilim, Salvation, love them. March Violets are back, all this sort of thing.
It's weird, really.
Is it weird, or is it natural, or is it just come full circle?
Well, I think all those bands always just sounded the same. Sort of, they come back and do the same stuff they always did. I think with this band, it's a little bit more progressive, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of expect the kids of today to be more progressive and be more on the edge, and it seems to be a bit more retro.
Because those bands are now doing new material, albums coming out and stuff.
But then their records never were, to me, were never particularly groundbreaking, or apart from the first Sisters of Mercy album is, the first stuff that the Sisters of Mercy did, Alice and all that original stuff with the drum machine, and it was a new sounding thing.
That was great.
That was amazing. But like, where did he go? He went a bit bombastic after that. Had hired lots of, went Jim Steinman world, did that. I mean, they didn't, doesn't mean anything to. I don't think it's aged particularly well, that kind of stuff.
No, but they're the soundtrack to my
but it's the sound, exactly. But that's
so it's a different.
But that's what everybody wants to do, is they want to relive their past, and I'm not that into that personally.
I identify more with what people do, and I probably identify with Underworld, say.
LCD
sound system far more than I do the bands I grew up with, because I'd see a similar attitude, desire to be at the cutting edge, to do the exciting things.
But is that because you're a musician though, do you think?
Well, but those bands you've mentioned are all musicians.
No, I mean, I've got a completely different view from it then as a fan to somebody who's a musician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say, you're trying. I mean, we're as a musician. If you look at what Poppies did, it was always trying to do different things and not the same as everybody else, creating an own niche. So that holds sway today, as well. As much as it did then. So to think that it was just a retro thing and just keep repedaling it just is not that interesting, is it? It's like, it's just a bit stagnant to me.
That depends on how you see it. I mean,
it's great for the fans because it's basically nostalgia. It's about nostalgia,
and
for
it's
the fans.
also about meeting up with your mates.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
I mean, that's
nothing wrong with
and
it.
it does turn into a great big.
We're playing a lot of old Poppy's old stuff, but at the same time, it's the thing that's interesting for all these the new people in this band is the new thing. So it's not like just. We're not covers. We don't want to be a covers band playing old. So it's about the future. It's more about the future for us. Totally understand that it's about the past for everybody else who's coming to see us. We want to take those people into what we're doing and give them something else to listen to, and we're hoping we're creating another set of memories for them to.
Which seems to be going down pretty well.
Yeah. So and hopefully there's some younger people going to come along and see it as well.
Thought, there's not a Poppies tribute band, is there?
There's a bikers one.
There's a bikers one? Really?
Yeah, there was one in Liverpool.
So
lesbian dope heads on mopeds.
Oh, them, yeah. Oh, yes, sorry. I knew that really. Oh, yeah. I was just thinking about the Sisters of Mercy tribute band because they're actually better.
Better than the Sisters of Mercy?
I've been to see them more than I've been to see the Sisters, and they are pretty fab.
Yeah.
Because
I think we'd probably put people off being a Poppies tribute band because, I mean, one, there's lots of. I suppose the diversity of sounds. You've got samples, then you've got all the
guitar,
electronic bits and
too
pieces.
Complicated.
Then you've got all the different instruments, then you've got the two vocalists. I mean, it's probably a lot of work.
I think it's going to be a lot of work.
For the dollars,
very dedicated.
For the money you get,
for the few dollars you're going to make, I'd say it's just ain't worth it.
Not just for the fun of it, no. All right, okay. The last question on here was: has pop eaten itself yet?
Constantly eating itself.
Well, has it got past the chewing stage? Given the state that things are in.
I don't know. This was David Quantick's theory, and it was a very good theory. I would presume it just continues and evolves. I wouldn't see that it would suddenly reach an end point.
Because the thing is with culture is everything is regurgitating, and everything is like nothing is particularly new anymore. There's always everything's informed from what came before it. And the notion of pop will itself is things borrowing from time and keep borrowing, and things coming around again. So it's La Rue is coming out, and they sound a bit like an 80s synth band, because the kids nowadays weren't there when the 80s synth band is there, so that there's a rich thing that they can mine. That's like, wow, this is a new sound. But when me or you listen to it, it's like, wow, that just sounds. That's a bit of Prince song and a Eurythmic song mixed with this song with those sounds and that sounds. So that's the notion that everything's happening like that. Everything's regurgitating and recycling, and so it's just constantly chewing, probably not swallowing.
Masticating.
Constantly masticating.
Just imagine that gets very sore. After
there you go, see? And that's the state we're in. We're pretty sore right now. Somebody needs to come and soothe us.
I think they do, and I don't think X Factor's going to do it.
Exactly not.
No. I think that might be the final straw for some of us. Right, well, thank you very much, Graham and Mary.
You're welcome.
I'd better get back out there and go and enjoy it.
That was good.